look out. Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sportswriter Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Plenty of folks to throw under the bus as we join you this week. Let us begin in the NBA. Look at Rich. Look at Coach. Look at that smile on his face. His Knicks that we have thrown under the bus. How many times, Curry? A million times, have now won their last, 4 games by 135 points.
How about that?
They have all of a sudden better than Willis Reed and DeBusschere and Bradley, better than Ewing and all those guys. This is the greatest Knicks team of all time. No,
I don't think it's the greatest Knicks team of all time. Just wait. It's one game. It's one game. You know, last week
3 before that big too.
I know, but last week we said Boston was definitely going to. Well, I said it anyway. Boston's definitely going to win, right?
Yes.
Denver was going to win. I mean, all these teams we thought that were going to win did not.
The Pistons were dead. Yeah.
Right. Pistons were dead. Correct. But I think the biggest team thrown to the bus. See if you guys agree with me. Is the Orlando Magic. In Game 6, they're up 3-2, and they're playing at home. Up by 22 points at halftime, 22 at half at home, and you can end the series in one half, and they lose by 14. Think about that.
It scored 19 in the second half. 19 in the second half.
Curry, now how many basketball games have you covered where a team, including high school teams, only scored 19 points and a half?
Rich and Bob, 23 shots they missed in a row.
Yeah.
How can a professional basketball team miss 23 shots in a row? Don't you do something or call timeout or do something? And Jamal Mosley didn't do much, and he's out. He's fired. I mean,
right.
That's it,
exactly right after the game, basically.
Yeah. Your team misses 23 shots in a row. That's
and you're playing at home, so you know the crowd's behind you, right? I mean, the crowd is trying to motivate you to do something. I totally agree with Curry. How do you miss that many shots in a row at any level, especially professionals, especially when you played so well in the first half and be up by 22 points? It's hard to believe.
Yeah, what's the old line
a lot
about
of people
not being able to throw the ball in the ocean? I mean, they literally couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are blaming, Franz Wagner, the second Orlando star, got hurt and missed the last 3 games.
Right.
So that one of those game 5, 6, and 7, maybe he could have made a shot instead of missing 23 in a row. But who knows? He had done a great job on Cade Cunningham, Detroit star. And after Wagner went out, Cunningham scored 109 points in the last 3 games.
Wow.
And he basically had held him down, the first 4 games. So who knows? But, if it weren't for that, so Mosley's out. He just got fired, right?
Yeah.
As you say, Rich, basically after Game 7, which was back in Detroit, it didn't take Orlando to fire him.
Not at all. Well, when you think, I mean, how do you blame the coach when the team shoots 11% in the second half? 11%. I mean, if you're going to blame him for that, you got to give him at least credit for the first half, which again, I don't see you giving credit for that because his players played well. But how do you go from being so on to being so off? Did the Detroit defense, I mean, did they step up that much? That you created a team that's missed 23 shots in a row and only shoot 11% in the second half. It's still hard to believe. Really is.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, going under, you go back to some of these other. I had a whole list of embarrassments down here in the NBA playoffs. As you said, the Hawks got beat by 51 by the Knicks. By the Knicks, the Sixers got beat last night by 39.
39.
I did about 10 minutes last week on Embiid and how awful the Sixers were,
right.
And they of course recovered beat the Celtics in 7, and then come into New York, and they were just
flat. They were flat. They were flat.
Not ready at all. And
You guys are
Embiid,
great
I don't know.
basketball watchers. Is Embiid? Jaylen Brown accused him of flopping too much. Does he?
Yeah, I guess. And, he's not the only one in the NBA that does that. There's a lot of floppers. But how about Curry? How about the Celtics? Now you're playing the 7th game at home, right? The 7th game of any playoffs in any sport is huge, as we all know. And they're playing at home, and they get beat by. I mean, they were a 2nd seed. The Celtics, Sixers had to play in to get into the tournament. They were a 7th seed, and you get to a 7th game. Now, to me, the difference in that game is the Celtics shot 49 3-pointers. They attempted 49. And how many did they make? 13. So why do you continue to shoot that many 3-pointers when you're not on? I mean, as a basketball player, when you have it, when you feel like you can score at any time, and the times when you can't put it in the ocean. And if you can't figure that out, the coach needs to figure it out for you. They attempted more 3-pointers than they did 2-pointers. Think about that. They've
been doing that all year. The thing is, Joe Mazzulla, the Celtics coach, has no plan B. They have no plan B. If they're off, they're going to get beat. If they can't make their threes, they're going to lose because he has nothing to go to. It's amazing. And he started a very weird lineup in Game 7.
He did.
What the hell is he doing? Garza, Harper, Shireman started. You know how many baskets they scored after starting that game? Zero.
And they never started together, right, Curry? I don't think they ever started together during the season.
And he only had him in. He had Garza in for like 4 minutes, Shireman for about 20. I mean, what is he doing? He said afterward, and he didn't seem that upset. He said he wanted to give the series a different feel and give our guys what is he talking about? Yeah,
that was a different feel. Them losing the 7th game at the Boston Garden. That's a different feel.
That's the feel he gave him. Yeah. Loser.
I don't know why they're not putting him over the coals, Mazzulla, for that. But you mentioned Jaylen Brown, Bob, calling Embiid a flopper. Did you get his take after the game, day after, how he said that this season was the most fun season he's ever had, and his favorite season, and that is going to start all kind of media rampage about he and the kid that came back, Tatum. Tatum came back because they've always been, whose team is it? Do they like each other? Can they get along and play? I mean, they won a championship together. And this guy, Brown, is saying this season, the season that Tatum was gone most of the time, and that they lost in the first round, is his favorite season. That's not going to sit well, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
How about Denver? Denver being the higher seed. And they're playing Minnesota, who had two starters out and a 6th man out. They were losing yards. They were missing 55 points. Think of that, guy. They were missing 55 points out of those 3 guys, and Minnesota still won going away.
I think this is where coaching comes in. I think the Minnesota coach, Chris Finch, is terrific. His top 3 guards were missing, so he went big. He went big and played 3 bigs almost the entire game against Denver. And, won Game 6 after Denver had rallied to win a couple games. But, they took Game 6, and Jokic got a lot of heat for not playing. But he was the only thing they had.
Yeah, Murray didn't play well at all. Murray didn't play at all.
Murray was terrible. He was 4 for 17. 4 for 17 in a game like that. He was dominated by Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels of Minnesota, who called out the entire Denver team for not playing good defense. They just made Murray a target, and I think McDaniel had 32 points in the game.
Yeah. Yeah,
just
he had a
dominated.
great game. He had a great
Yeah,
game.
dominated Murray. And the Denver, another guy that doesn't seem to have a plan B is the Denver coach, Edelman, David Edelman. You know, he's the son of Rick Edelman, who we all remember. But David Edelman, look, every time they shoot him, he has the worst haircut in professional sports. First of all, he looks like that character from Mad Magazine, who we all remember, Alfred E. Newman. What me worry? What me worry? Well, you know, I mean, it's all Edelman. He doesn't impress me at all. I'm surprised he's going to still be the coach.
But then again, that's because North Carolina stole Denver's good coach. You know that.
Well, I don't know, but what me worry is a lot to worry about.
All right, let's talk about the second round then. Knicks Sixers. Knicks win huge in the first game. Do they just blow this series out?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they blow it out. Not at all. Right. I mean, in the NBA, it's so crazy. You get a game like that, and you sit there and go, "Oh, the series is over. They beat them by over 30." Tomorrow night, it could be a whole different game. I mean, it'll be a different game. Yeah. I don't see New York. I mean, New York is playing as well as they've played all year long. Yeah. I think Philadelphia will Philadelphia did the same thing against Boston, right? In the first game, they didn't look very good, and they bounced back. So, well, I think New York still wins it, but I think they'll give them a run for their money.
Cavs Pistons. Are the Pistons all of a sudden breathing a new life and everything is good, or did the Cavs get battle tested enough in the Toronto series to maybe give the Pistons a time?
Curry, what do you think?
Well, we're doing this Tuesday night. The Pistons and
they're playing
Cavaliers,
game one now.
Are about to tip off. I like the Pistons in that series. I think Cunningham is just terrific. I mean, he's become one of the top guys in the NBA.
Yeah, I agree.
Out west, we talked about the Timberwolves and coming back and beating Denver, and then they beat the Spurs.
Right.
Wembanyama blocks 12 shots, and they still don't win.
Right.
How's that?
Terrific. It was a terrific game. I don't have Peacock, so I didn't get to see it. I like most of America doesn't have Peacock. So, you know, NBC puts that game on the satellite station. But I want to ask you, Rich, as a coach, at the end of the game, did you see the play?
Yes.
At the end of the game when San Antonio came down and had a shot to win,
you saw who shot it,
or called timeout. Well, the last play, they come down and San Antonio has the ball, and Harper has the ball. He hands it off to Wembanyama. Wembanyama sends it right back to Harper. And it looked to me, and the next day, which is today, some of the commentators were saying the same thing. It looked like Wembanyama thought they were going to call timeout because he sort of stopped playing. He stopped running. And you know, 30 seconds before that, he got in the ball and gone the whole court and dunked over Gobert. You know, when he does that, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And of course, he loves to shoot threes, but he gave the ball back and he stopped. He didn't run, and I think he thought they were going to call time. Rich, did you think they should have called time or go?
Well, you know, here first of all, what I was a little confused about when Minnesota had the ball at the end and they were up by 2. And San Antonio was defending them, and you know the shot clock. I mean, they still had time with the shot clock coming down, but they're only going to have about 6 or 7 seconds. If they make a basket there, the game's over. Now it's a 4-point game or a 5-point game. So you're allowing them to control the tempo there. I think they should have put more pressure on them to kind of make them go to the back, do something. But they allow them to use the shot clock. Fortunately for San Antonio, they missed the shot. And Curry, to answer your question in a roundabout way, because it was a missed shot and not a made shot in transition, I'm sure the coach from San Antonio felt, hey, they're back on their heels. Let's attack them. If we call timeout, yes, they're going to be able to set up their defense. And I've always said, you got to take care of your team first. But I think he felt that they're scrambling to get back defensively. Do they foul? I mean, in terms of being up two. Well, no, that's not. I'm thinking they're up 3. They're up 2. They're up 2.
They
They
were
could
up
have won
2,
the
yeah.
game on that shot.
Well,
But no,
and they
I don't.
had-
Yeah, I'm sure they probably thought maybe they're going to call a timeout, but there was not. They just attacked it. But I don't think Harper took the last shot.
No,
think
no. They got first of all, they got a great look on
Yeah,
that
they
shot.
did.
The kid named Champagne from St. John's.
St. John's, yeah.
Who's their best shooter. He's their best shooter.
Is he really?
And
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. And he had percentage-wise, he is
Okay.
best three-point guy. And he had a great look to win the game. And that ball was in the entire way. I mean,
Yeah, it looked good. It did look good.
That thing looked good to everybody.
Yeah.
Game was going to be over. Champagne was going to be the. By the way, I wish he pronounced his name Champagne the way it's spelled. He should pronounce it. Yeah, come on. But he's from St. John's, so he pronounces it Champagne. He was, and Victor Wembanyama had a terrible offensive game. Actually, it was 5 for 17, 0 for 8 from 3. He hadn't made a 3 all game, and he wasn't going to be in on that play. But as I say, Champagne took the shot, and it was a great look. It was a great shot. It was going to win the game, and just barred out, and Minnesota ends up winning
by 2. But when he shot 0 for 8 from the 3-point line, I know he shoots out there. I get it. But when you realize that your 3-point shot game is not on, take it to the rack. I mean, who's going to stop that guy?
He did that. He did that a minute before. He did that.
I know, but do it again.
Yeah, I know. That's why
and again.
That's
right. Exactly.
Yeah. That's one way to put it. I don't know. He wouldn't have gotten the free lane this time, though.
So
Minnesota
come back and win that series.
I think they do. I think San Antonio comes back and wins that series. Yes.
All right. And then the Thunder and the Lakers.
Unless the Ant-Man explodes.
Well,
he came back from that injury last night and looked.
He had
terrific
18.
while he was in. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He's
So I wouldn't count Minnesota out. I mean, everybody talks about the San Antonio being so young and not ready for the playoffs. But I'm not sure that inexperience didn't cost them last night already.
You might be, you might be right.
I
think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going to be a good series, but I think San Antonio, they need to win tomorrow night. They don't need to go down 2-0 going back.
Yeah, that'd be hard. That'd be very hard.
Because if they go down 3-1, we know they can't win. But nobody wins coming back from 3-1 this year, right?
Yeah, only everybody.
Thunder has not been really touched, and the 4 times they've played the Lakers this year, they won by an average of 29. Did the Thunder take care of push LeBron aside quickly, or is LeBron a miracle worker?
I would think so. And I think the Thunder do that when they play the Lakers. They do that on purpose. They just want to pummel them because they're the Lakers, and it's significant that those points are significant. I think during the season, and I think they want to prove, that last season was no fluke. And I don't see the Lakers having a chance. They might get one game. Rich, what do you think?
Yeah, maybe one.
Maybe one. All right. We've spent a lot of time talking NBA. I think we've kind of given folks an idea of what you guys think is going on down the pike. We got a lot more to talk about. Baseball, the Kentucky Derby. We got golf. I even want to throw somebody under the bus from the Miami Grand Prix. We're going to do that a little later on when we all come back and throw more folks under the bus.
Watch that.
Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. Quick hockey under the bus. We're not going to talk a lot about the series, but I want to throw the goalies under the bus in the first game of Colorado and Minnesota in the second round. 9-6.
9-6.
In a Stanley Cup playoff game. 9-6. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I think we have all professed that we're rooting for Buffalo. They're in the second round, although they're playing the team that might be my second one to root for. I never root for the Yankees, but I think I will root for the Montreal Canadiens. They're the youngest team. Montreal hasn't been to the playoffs much at all in years. They haven't won it in 33 years, and they're the Yankees, for crying out loud, of hockey. And they're the youngest team still left in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So problem is they're playing Buffalo, so we'll be rooting for Buffalo. Let's talk.
Shouldn't our second team be our home team, the Carolina Hurricanes, who are undefeated in the playoffs? Undefeated, 6-0. In our
Oilers, for crying out loud.
Our hockey advisor, Worldwide West, informs us that they're not only 6-0, but Logan Stankoven has 6 goals. The Canes got him in a trade for Renton into Dallas. The Canes traded their star player away, but they got this guy Stankoven. He's got 6 goals in 6 games, and the Canes won last night in overtime. I watched the game; it was great. The Stanley Cup playoffs are just unbelievable.
Oh yeah, they are. No, they are. They're better than the NBA playoffs. We got to find somebody to root for, and rooting for Buffalo has so far been good for us. Let's talk baseball, and the big story maybe in baseball this week. One that Rich would certainly be able to talk about some, the death of John Sterling, the Yankees play-by-play guy for years. As someone who hates the Yankees, I loved listening to John Sterling. I could almost put up with it because he was so entertaining. Even though his calls, again, I've had to listen to Herb Score when I was in Cleveland, and Herbie never knew quite where they were playing, who was playing, or what the score was, but you loved him because he was your guy.
Right.
And Sterling would sometimes kind of get off track a little bit, but Yankees win.
Yeah. I mean, he always had some, not for every player, but he had some great quotes when guys hit the ball. Like, here's a couple examples. A-bomb from A-Rod, and a thriller from Godzilla, which was Matsui, and then Roberto Cano. Don't you know? And then Bernie Williams, burn baby burn. It's a Jeter jolt. I mean, he had some sayings. I know a lot of people who don't like the Yankees didn't really like his way of saying things and so forth. But he was there 36 years and called over 5,000 games. He was terrific. His voice, and when you listen to the players, I don't know if you guys read the New York Post at all, but so many players came out and talked about what he meant to baseball and they loved him, his passion. He loved everybody. Everybody loved him. Michael Kay, was talking about and started crying. He was his partner for, I think, 9 years. It's pretty emotional. And they lost a piece of the Yankees when John passed away.
Yeah.
John started with the Yankees in 1989, and I met him in the early 80s before he became a star, before he became anybody, when he was a nobody. And we used to play tennis on the West Side, called the West Side of New York, by the river.
Yeah.
And John, we got to be pretty good friends. And this was before he became a star, really.
Okay.
And he had this incredible temper.
Really?
And we used to play. He was very strange. He also, when we played, he used to talk to himself all the time. He would talk during the play, as the point's going on. And when he first started, I thought he was talking to me. And I would yell across the court. I said, the point would stop. And I say, John, what'd you say? And he said, no, don't worry about it. I'm just talking to myself. And he'd be talking like he was a crazy man. He'd be talking to himself all the time. And then one day, I was kind of better than him. So one day I'm winning again. He double followed a couple times, took his racket and threw it over, not just over the fence and out of play, not just over the fence, but into the river. His racket went into the Hudson River, and he didn't have a replacement. You usually have 2 or 3 rackets, and he had no racket. So, of course, I gave him one of mine to play, and we played. And I said, "Look, next time, you got to bring more than one racket." So, so he did. He started bringing 2 and 3 rackets, and it happened a couple more times.
Wow.
The racket didn't go in the river, but it did go over the fence. He didn't, and we had to pause, and because it was a long walk, had to walk around the whole fence to go around to get his. Oh, he was a pistol man, and maybe he was practicing play-by-play, talking to himself all the time. But it was really strange.
I wondered if he had a call for himself when he.
Yeah, it was very strange. It was very strange.
A Sterling.
Curry, where was he working? Curry, where was he working before he joined the Yankees?
I'm trying to think. He was doing stuff for ESPN, I think, before, and then
TNT worked for the Braves.
And then he was doing local radio. Sorry,
I thought he did Braves games for a while.
He might have in Atlanta. He might have, but when I met him,
TNT or TBS or whatever.
Yeah, I think he came up and started doing radio. But then he got the Yankee job, and I moved. I didn't live in New York anymore, so we sort of split. But what a great character! I was so sad when he passed.
Yeah, Rich, I'll tell you. When you worked at ESPN, you were right on the border. Half of the people who worked there were Yankee fans, and the other half were Red Sox fans.
Okay,
because you were right exactly halfway between the two.
Right,
and I would root for the Red Sox, but I would listen to Sterling.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of where I was on that rivalry.
Yeah.
It was, I thought Sterling was entertaining, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And he also helped he would help make it easier for you to root against the Yankees.
Yeah. I get it.
But, Joe Posnanski, who's one of my favorite sports writers right now, did a thing today about how Sterling is one of the last of the hometown guys. We all had him. I mean, Curry, growing up in St. Louis, you were listening to Harry Carey and Jack Buck and those guys. And Rich in New York with Lindsey Nelson and
Mel Allen, Red Barber, Phil Rizzuto.
I grew up with Vin Scully and the Dodgers and those guys, Ernie Harwell and all of the great old names, Marty Brennaman in Cincinnati and the guys in Chicago and whatever that's a generation.
Yes,
maybe 2 generations of people.
I think it's 2 because I think John was younger than most of those guys.
Well, he was the last to go.
Yes.
So
for sure. Yeah, I mean,
So it's there's not many left. I mean,
they don't make them like that anymore, Bob. Those
go.
announcers you just mentioned, they don't make anybody like those guys.
There you go. Hey, the Yankees, by the way, speaking of while we're doing Yankee talk, they send down your favorite player, Anthony Volpe, the shortstop. They sent him down.
Well, they never brought him up. Because he was hurt. Yeah, he's rehabbing his shoulder. I think part of it is if he's down for 20 more days, then he can't become a free agent until 2 years or something like that. They don't come out and say that, but I think that's out there. And Volpe, he's struggled last year, as you guys know. He batted like 212. So, and he didn't hit that great in the minor leagues. When he was rehabbing. I think he batted maybe 250, but he'll be definitely brought up sooner or later. But
except he's being replaced right now by a guy that you just wish Sterling were around to talk about, Jose Caballero.
Yeah,
the shortstop. How great is a name is that?
Sterling would do great stuff with that name.
He would do some stuff. Question for you out of baseball: Mike Trout is playing great. He's come back. He's healthy. He's playing center field. He's playing great, but he's still stuck on the Angels, who are not playing great. He's 34 years old. Do they finally just bite the bullet and trade him, get some kids, trade him to one of those high dollar East Coast teams that is struggling, Mets, Phillies, you name it, who would gladly pay him and, to try to do something. Is it time to trade for the Angels to trade Mike Trout?
I think so. I mean, like you say, he's 34 years old. The Angels, he's played all these years with the Angels. What have they done? Have they ever made the playoffs with him? Ever?
No, he's never played the playoffs.
Wow. So, where do they think it's going to happen now?
I can't believe that Mike Trout is 34 years old. If you had asked me, before that, I would have said, guess like 26, 20. He's been around so long, I know, but it still seems, the way he plays, he still seems like a young whippersnapper guy. But, he's from New Jersey, right? I think he's from New Jersey.
Yes.
And I don't know why he's never asked and demanded a trade. I don't know why. It seems to me he's been satisfied with his career.
He's been satisfied. He's been loyal to the guys who've been writing the checks for all these years.
Yeah.
And I think he's honestly thought, gee, maybe this will be the year. He had Ohtani for a teammate for a
right.
while.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't make the playoffs.
No.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It's
okay. Couple other notes.
While we're on the Angels and the Yankees, the Angels have won 13 games this year. You know who else has won 13? The Mets have won 13.
Yeah.
And they're the worst. I did a little research. I did a little research on the Mets because I want to dig in this week before they get relegated out of the league. They when their slugger left, Pete Alonso, in the offseason, the Mets never made an offer for him.
No.
He went to the Orioles and they never made an offer to keep him. Well, I mean, so then they replaced him with Polanco, who came up and they put him at first base. He's never played first base in his life.
Right.
Polanco. No. That's the guy they replaced him with. Then I've been reading that Soto and Lindor their two stars don't even get along. They don't even speak to each other. They don't like each other. On opening day, when everybody gathered around, they introduced the players. Soto and Lindor didn't even talk to each other, and apparently it's continued like that.
If you can't get along with Francisco Lindor,
that's
there's probably something wrong with you. He's one of the
when they're their two star players. Soto. When Soto was on the injured list, apparently, he never talked. And while the Mets were in this 24-game losing streak, or whatever it was, he didn't talk to any of his teammates. He didn't speak to him. He wasn't around. I mean, this stuff. Then it's great. They had a game the other day. Then Mendoza got the manager. Got the dreaded vote of confidence after the team went on the road. They went on the road and he got the vote of confidence. I wouldn't. But there was a game the other day where it was late in the game and Mendoza, Devin Williams, who's the reliever that they got from the Yankees, who's terrible. He's been terrible this year. They had him ready to come in the game to close. And the pitcher that had been in the game, Hector Brazoban, had been in the game, and he thought he was still in the game. So he walked out and crossed the line to pitch the inning, the eighth inning, I think it was, the eighth inning. He crossed the line. So everybody realized, wait a minute, we got Williams coming in. You're not supposed to pitch. So everything was confusing, but he had to pitch to one batter because he'd already crossed the baseline.
Yeah.
So he had to pitch to one batter, which he walked. Fortunately, the Mets got out of the inning and won the game. But they asked Mendoza what was the deal after the game. He said, "I forgot to tell him in Spanish." What are you kidding? I forgot to tell him in Spanish. Aren't the entire major league Spanish? I mean, what are you talking about?
What would Stengel say about this bunch, huh?
That's the Mets organization to me.
That's brutal stuff.
That's when Soto was with the Yankees and had a great year, and everybody wanted to keep him. I was thinking, let him go. He's not a good fit at all. And the chemistry of your team is so important. I mean, they have talent with it. If you look at the Mets lineup, they got talent there.
They do.
And they're playing so poorly like that.
Soto and Judge didn't get along, did they? when
Well,
he
I
was
think
with the
Judge
Yankees?
I think Judge gets along with everybody. I think
Well,
Soto
that's what
didn't like. Yeah, I don't think Soto liked the idea that Judge got all the PR stuff. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
He's the
yeah,
man, and I
yeah,
don't think he liked that. That's I think why he went to the Mets. But
yeah.
Francis Lindor, I had the opportunity to meet him very briefly, but he's as nice as a guy you'll ever
Yeah.
meet.
Yeah.
Really
Always got,
is.
always got a smile on his face.
Oh yeah, and when I met him, he brought his wife over so I could meet his wife and his kids.
How about
Like
that?
you got to. So we talked for about 5 minutes or so, and he was awful nice, awful nice.
All right. All right. Hey, we'll throw one more under the bus for baseball, and we got lots of stuff still to talk about. I'm going to throw the SEC under the bus for spending some of that money that should be always spent on football in the SEC, or maybe now basketball. It's now that they've become such a big basketball power. They are actually bringing ABS into the SEC baseball tournament.
Oh wow!
They're going to call
Oh, I
automatic
saw it.
balls and strikes in the SEC baseball tournament.
Wow! How about
That's
that?
how much money they've got.
Yeah.
And how crazy they are. All right.
Yeah.
We got horses to throw under the bus. We haven't done
Okay.
that in a while. We'll do that when we come back. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico. Hey, you guys, who has the worst outfits? And we will, we can throw somebody under the bus. People at the Kentucky Derby or people at the Met Gala?
At the Met
Met
Gala.
Gala.
I'll go
Met
for Met
Gala.
Gala.
Boy,
The
there
Met
were some
Gala.
bad hats at the Derby, though.
I saw my favorite was a singer, Katy Perry. She wore a helmet on her head, and the rest of it was like a nun. So it was like a nun's veil and then a helmet which she covered her face with. And so it was a nun's helmet. I couldn't get over that one.
Now,
Katy
was that at
Perry.
the Derby or the Met Gala?
That was that was at the Met Gala. That was at the Met Gala.
She might have worn that to the Derby. Who knows? Golden Tempo wins it. What an amazing
Unbelievable.
race. Go from last to first in the final turn and down the stretch with the first female trainer to ever win.
Yeah, I
the Derby.
thought all the male trainers went directly under the bus after that
There you
one.
go.
Cherie DeVoe. Her last name is DeVoe, which
Yes.
ironically was the name of my prep school that I went to. And there's only one. There's one letter in DeVoe. In my DeVoe is Veaux. In hers, there's no E.
Right.
And I don't know if you saw the interviews with her afterward, but she was just charming. It was so funny. It was great to see her reaction to the Derby winner, and then afterwards, it was.
So
it
will
was
they take
really neat.
E out of your elementary school name and name it after
Probably now. I also love that. Jose Ortiz,
Yes.
the jockey, as they crossed the line, he beat his brother who was on Renegade, and they crossed the line and then clasped hands after the finish line. That was so great.
Yeah.
I thought that
Cool is
was
that?
terrific.
Yeah,
He's no relation to David Ortiz, who is
No.
of course Big Poppy. So they have to call Jose Little Poppy now, don't they? Little Poppy.
all right, the mental
I think you have to
picture,
win the Kentucky Derby. He doesn't mind you call him any name if you want.
which Big Poppy would never do. Imagine Big Poppy on a thoroughbred. Just the mental picture for just a moment.
Well, speaking of that, there was a horse in the Derby that Big Poppy could get on. It was as big as him. Great White, who bucked his jockey. What a scary sight that was! And then he fell. He almost fell on his jockey. And
good news out of that. Great White is okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
Going to run in the Preakness.
Oh wow!
That horse is 17.2 hands,
yes,
which a regular horse is only 16, and it outweighs regular thoroughbred by 300 pounds.
Yeah.
That's how big Great White. I mean, he's enormous. So you watched him, right?
With that.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
The NFL is going to draft him now because of his size, the size of his hands. The NFL will draft him.
Well,
Probably.
the trainer John Ennis, when he announced that the horse was okay and that he's going to take him to the Preakness, he said, "I've had worse falls getting out of bed." The trainer said, "Really? Come on."
Good stuff. I could throw under the bus. Let's go to golf. I want to throw the PGA Tour under the bus.
Me
for playing
too.
At Doral.
Correct.
The 10-year, they took a 10-year hiatus from playing at Doral, and they went back. Really didn't promote it as well as they should have. They figured, let's just make it a signature event. All the big names will come. All the big names did not come, and nobody in Miami came. I mean, that's where the tour wants to go to all these big markets now. They want to give up.
Well, and they came back because in Trump's second term, that's one of his golf courses, and of course they had gotten away from all his courses during the first term because of his racist remarks about Mexico. But now to try and get in his good graces, they put their event there. I'm glad they didn't get any people.
Yeah, and nobody went for any number of reasons, but Miami now is, I would think I would cross it off my list as a great market to be going to if I'm the PGA Tour, because it's a better market to run the Miami Grand Prix. I don't know if you saw this or not. At the Miami Grand Prix, and I can't tell you who won, I can't tell you anything about the race, but I can tell you that they had a $100 hot dog at the Miami Grand Prix.
$100 hot dog? What did they put on it?
Well, the Golden Glizzy had Austrian Wagyu was the dog.
What?
Australian Wagyu beef.
Wagyu?
Yeah, Wagyu, the really fancy Japanese beef, like kind of like Kobe.
Yeah,
Wagyu.
Okay.
Australian Wagyu beef on a French croissant. The French croissant name you would probably know, Curry. I didn't write it down. Topped with creme fraiche and caviar and 24-karat gold flakes that were edible. And $100. That's your ballpark hot dog at the Miami Grand Prix. I think we can throw them under the bus for that.
Well, Bob, how about that Kentucky Derby? There's a $5,000 mint julep. $5,000. Yes, sir. 5,000.
What's it got in it?
Well, I think the big thing is the glass itself. I don't know what it's made of, but the glass itself. But it's $5,000. Right. Not every mint julep is $5,000 there, but if you want to go high end, that's what you pay.
Yeah.
So,
all I know about the golf is Scotty Scheffler finished second for the third straight time.
Wow.
The winner was
Cam
Young.
Cam
Young, who was just
Wake Forest own. Wake Forest own.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
big time Wake Forest guy.
Okay.
But you're right,
Carolina
Bob. Sorry.
Carolina couldn't steal him away for more money.
Wake Forest gets more golfers. But I agree with you. It's so pitiful that PGA went back to Doral, just because Trump's, And then he showed. Then we had to endure, the screenshots of him saluting Cam as Young on the 18th green and blah blah blah. He had to share screen time with the president.
I didn't watch. I was eating my $100 hot dog.
Yeah, that's good.
we should make a quick note of Nelly Corda with her second straight win. She's had 6 straight top twos. In fact, this season, there have been 2 girls who have beaten her at all ever in 6 tournaments. I mean, that's pretty terrific. She's
she has 6 twos and 2s. She has 2 1s and 6 2s.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No. She had 6 straight top twos. She's won her second in a row. I think she has 3 wins this year and 3 twos.
I knew her dad, who was a great tennis player. As you probably know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always wondered, was he? I don't know if you and I have talked about it. Was he one of the the crazy Europeans, or was he a pretty low key guy? Or
Well, he was pretty low key. Yeah, he wasn't crazy.
Okay.
He was really good guy, and he was a really good player too. I mean, I think he
yeah.
won. I think he won the French one year. I mean,
Okay.
the major.
Hmm.
I'd have to look that up. But you know,
he
and
was not-
his son now is gone on the tour, both tours.
Okay. Good stuff. All right. Final under the buses.
I have one since we were talking about Miami.
Yes.
This has to do with Willis, the quarterback that left Green Bay and signed as a free agent with the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
They haven't come to a Marlins game throughout the first pitch. Now,
Yeah.
he's a quarterback now. He throws it at least 5 feet over the catcher's head.
That's
Has
right.
one pitch, you're the quarterback in an NFL team, and you can't hit the catcher's mitt, even if it's to the outside. I'm seriously, it had to be at least 5 feet over his head.
Yeah,
He's
that's
under the
good.
bus.
It was
Well,
a
and
deep route.
Dolphins
Watch
fans
this,
are
watch this,
worried.
guys. Watch this.
Here it comes. Yeah.
That might have been 10
What
feet.
is that? What is that? Dolphin fans are worried now that they've got
Yeah,
their
they
quarterback.
should be. Curry, they should be.
That's awful. Yeah. Wow.
Can you beat that, Curry?
No, but I'm throwing Rob Gronkowski under the bus because at the Derby, he was all over the Derby, and apparently he bet $6,900 on the races and lost all of it on a Kentucky Derby bet.
Oh,
Did he bet? How many horses did he bet, Curry?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the details,
all
but
the ones that lost.
but on TV, the pregame Derby show, which was 4 hours long, Gronkowski was all over that, and he was showing the TV cameras. He had a whole bunch of cash in his suit pocket, inside his suit pocket, and he was bragging he had all this cash to bet on the Derby, and apparently he lost all of it.
Jeez. Under the bus.
Yep.
And yet, curiously,
Gronk.
so the horse that wins with the female trainer, the only one of those supposed experts who picked it was the woman, Donna Brothers.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Donna Brothers. Yep.
She picked the winner.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, crazy stuff. All right. Well, so there we go.
Oh, there he is.
There's Gronk and his money.
Wow.
With a week like that, we can only hope that we have that much fun next week. Thanks so much for joining us. For Curry Kirkpatrick and Rich Basirico, I'm Bob Stevens. We'll be back to throw other people under the bus.
Thanks, guys.